Hello, hello. Welcome to the podcast Theater of Joy. Today we have Vartika. Vartika is from Kolkata, and that's where she makes and creates and applies her theater. She's a co founder of Swabhav Natak Dal, a collective that enables children, women, workers, and different kinds of groups to tell their stories through song and dance and theater. Wow. How does it get any better? And in the last, say, couple of years, she began Swabhav Meyeder.
Meyeder Gaaner Dol.
Oh, thank you, Vartika. It is again a platform which uses song, dance, and theater, and it's specifically for young people from marginalized communities. Yay,
Especially
Vartika.
for young women, actually.
For young women. Yeah.
May means girl or woman in Bengali, in Bangla. So this
Yeah.
is just a Meyeder Dol, a women's performance collective.
Oh, wow. How amazing. You must be having such fun.
It
Okay.
is.
Yay. And I mean, this is my little bit. And, but you also tell us about yourself, please. I'm so
Yeah,
excited
so
to talk to
and,
you.
yes,
Hmm?
happy to be on this podcast, Theatre of Joy. I had no idea that I would be doing theatre in my life and it would be the driving force in my life. It just happened to me. What I founded 15 years back was Swabhav, which was a creative learning space. The idea then was that through the creative arts, let's try to reclaim our self worth, which is often destroyed by mainstream education and by mainstream institutions. What I found in school, in various institutions I saw around me, that most people were meant to feel like failures. So I said, let's create a space where everybody can find their value, find their worth, find their joy. And that's how Swabhav started. And it started with many activities. So there was music, dance, art, theater, kabar se jugaad, computers, little bit of academic performance, learning English, gardening, cooking, so many things that we used to do. But slowly, everything started moving towards theater. And we realized that everything that I wanted to do, that we wanted to do, came together in theater. And so over time, Swabhav, the creative learning space, became Swabhav Natak Dal. And in the last 2.5 years, that's all the learnings of Swabhav Natak Dal for the last 12 years or something have culminated into Swabhav Meyeder Gaaner Dol.
12 years.
So
Good Lord. That must mean so many experiences, so many learnings, and
it's
so much joy of working with, people. And, people who don't get this and who are, not really living in mid cities and that is not available, they are the receiving is so open. They
absolutely,
really.
you're right. You're right, Harleen. Actually, the thing is, this was also a choice that evolved over the years, that who do I want to do theater with? Because one is, I realized as we started doing many things. So actually, it was Ankur, my friend, who introduced theater in Swabhav. So when I started Swabhav, I invited all kinds of, everybody I knew and didn't know, that, please come in with whatever you want to share, come in with whatever you want to receive. And that's when Ankur came in and he brought theater to Swabhav. And slowly, as theater became the mainstay of our work there, I realized not only is it something that, that brings together everything that I want to do, like I told you, so all the ideas with which I started Swabhav, whether it was a sense of community, whether it was talking about different issues that living in the city, I realized I often seem to forget about, or which is often like suppressed, so the other side of the city, which is not like the tall buildings and the swanky malls and all of that, but those who live behind the scenes there. And like just thinking about the environment, the whole use and throw culture of the city, the whole consumerism, so all these things we wanted to question, plus all the things we wanted to do, like the creative aspect, the community aspect, all of that came together in theater. And I also realized that it should be theater for everybody, like theater for all, whether as an actor or as an audience. How can it be theater for all? Like you just said right now, that so many people who don't have those many options, and I gradually we realize that it's for them that we want Swabhav Natak Dal to be, because that's where I find maximum joy, because the kind of validation that the respect, the giving and the receiving that happens with them is, in my experience, I've not found it anywhere else, because they're just, like you said, so much more open to every experience, to the small joys, like there's no need for the big things all the time, but the little things count and matter. So just that little respect we get when we go do a show somewhere, and like somebody says something in appreciation, or somebody gives us like some chai samosa afterwards, and that also brings joy. We don't need like some fancy 7-course meal to feel the joy. So it's just the finding the joy in the little things that I have found with these communities that I work with. So whether it's in Kolkata now, recently we've been working more in Kolkata with these women who come from the Basti here, and incidentally, interestingly, all Muslim women. But over the years, Swabhav has worked with various marginalized groups. So whether it's workers, laborers in Haryana, Gurgaon, Rajasthan, West Bengal, with tribal children in Madhya Pradesh, in Chhattisgarh, with women. Actually, one very interesting group we worked with was women domestic workers in West Bengal, so they cook and clean in people's homes, and they never thought that they'll actually ever find the time and space to form a theater group of their own. But like for the 1 year that dream materialized, that was also so special. So there's a different joy that I have found, and an acceptance. And I think it's not just about, the people I work with finding themselves or their needs being fulfilled, but just as much, if not more, about me finding myself and my needs being fulfilled. That's happening in this process.
And theater is just the thing, isn't it? I mean, it is such an amazing, versatile, flexible tool that actually reaches out to people at so many levels.
Absolutely. So it's so much fun, because even the girls that I'm working with, like none of them ever considered themselves performers, or even actually many of them, before we started working together, they hadn't even watched a live like theater performance before. So just discovering theater and ourselves and each other all together. So it's actually just discovering our body, discovering our minds, discovering our hearts, discovering all the things that we can do. Like, I mean, most of us, like even me, like I might have taken part in a couple of school plays, or, I might have like danced in front of the mirror with a dupatta as a child and things like that. But I never thought of theater seriously until it happened in this collective at Swabhav. And that's the same for, many of the people who are actually doing theater at Swabhav. But the more we get into it, and with every passing day, it feels like this is what I was born to do. This is what I was meant to do. Like, how could it be?
Yeah, theater opens up the space of possibilities, which, especially, when you talk about domestic workers, they don't think that anything else is possible in their lives.
Absolutely.
But they don't face, so much that finally they might come to feel that anything is possible, which is amazing.
Absolutely. I think that's what stays. I mean, because of course, some people have been there for a long time. Some people have really been able to take theater up and make it part of their lives. And many others couldn't stay beyond the point, especially considering the communities that we have worked with. Sometimes it wasn't possible for some of them to actually stay with theater because of financial constraints, because of family constraints, because of all kinds of constraints. But I think even if they didn't stay with theater, I believe theater stayed with them.
That's a
Because,
wonderful way of putting it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It does
because
always,
I mean,
right? Isn't it?
go, no, like it can't go. That feeling of anything is possible. That feeling of being the queen on, like, in that stage, in that performance, the feeling of having those 300, 400 eyes on you, and just like, savoring every word you're saying, every gesture you're making, that I think stays. And that is what I feel like hopefully I can give, or we can give, like Swabhav can give all of those who have associated with us, whether or not they continue to do theater later on.
Mm. Yeah, with so many spaces open up. It's a magic. It's like the magic of theater, which,
Yeah. But having said that, Harleen, like I think over the years there was also this need which came in me and asked that that's not always enough. Like it didn't feel enough to me. Like while I wanted that, everybody takes away this joy and that stays with them, but I also really wanted, I think, with time and with age, that there should be a team that lasts. Like I wanted that there should be some people who can actually stay with theater also, because then it also opens up the possibility to do so many more experiments, right? Like having to start anew with new people every time, while it's fun, but it's also sometimes like I can't go deeper, then I can't move to the next level. So there's also this desire in me that I realized to have a team that we can keep, like, then evolving, going deeper, like going to the next level, trying out new things, because the basics are now already in place. So in order to do that, one very important learning that happened in Swabhav's journey was that then how can we make theater financially viable? How can it be something that people can actually continue, where we can try to counter the other constraints that come. Like I'm not saying we found the answers, and I don't know whether it's possible still, but her levels say it's hard, because not only is it that theater doesn't make a lot of money, but it's also often not a very socially acceptable kind of a vocation, or especially for women, and the women I'm working with right now who are Muslim women, who are at other times in their full niqab and hijab and all of that. Like for them, how can we make theater a financially, socially viable option?
but I want to put in something here, Vartika. There's always, I've seen in my long life, that there's always, the first generation you can bring into, you can open up the magical space for. But they do come always, the generations afterwards. And what these women are going to take into their homes, into their communities, they don't actually have to perform theater there, but just their being, like you said, if magic of theater just touches anyone, it's like the Midas touch, right? I mean, it doesn't give you money, but it gives you so much else. And then there's a next generation, which is now happening in many organizations, especially, what is that organization called? Agaz in Delhi.
Right.
Manzil. Manzil. I mean, there are so many organizations and everyone is linked, right, nowadays. And this next generations will come, and there will be more theater, and there will be more finances.
And we
And
are also doing
you
it
can
here.
just do your
I want
bit and do that your bit well. And you set the ball of energy rolling, and it goes places, believe me.
But we're also trying to do it here. So we have created we have created this whole system now, where for the first 3 months it's like a vocational training program. That's how we put it to these communities, just to make them feel, "Acha, this is something I can do." So like you do stitching, like you do computers, like you do spoken English, why not try theater? And when some people are touched by that magic, and some people are like, no, I want this now to be a part of my life, then we are trying to arrange through our shows right now, through some contributions from friends, but we're trying to evolve the system where they are given stipends for the time they give, because it's hard work. Yeah, theater, I mean, we all know that. I mean, while it does give a lot of joy, it is labor, it's hard work. So we are providing these stipends, and we are trying to move towards a financially sustainable collective. And it is important, because I think, like, not, I mean, of course you're right about future generation, but even in this generation, but I want to see it with my own eyes also. So I'm like greedy in
Yeah.
that. I
And you
want
know
to
what?
see.
Yeah, it is actually vocational training in the best thing, because in all jobs now, you need to be out there, you need to be able to communicate, you need to be able to be comfortable with your body and with, relating to other people and with taking conversations forward. And a simple initial workshop in theater, processes that helps. So,
Absolutely.
if people who want to come in only for that, okay. People who want to continue with, taking theater somewhere, okay. I guess, yeah. And, theater always grows into
Always,
something
theater is
beautiful.
always a win-win. So,
Always a win-win. It always grows into something beautiful. I've seen, theater people who had to be with their families, had a wife or children, whatever. They'd go and do this multi-level marketing. But they needed those theater skills for that. Of course, I don't, you know,
I hope that's not
like multi-level marketing. But
go.
yeah, and people have to do what they have to do, and they do it, and
Absolutely.
you can be an allowance. But theater helps everyone.
It
Yeah.
does. It does.
And how has your life kind of changed as you went deeper and deeper into um, making theater, facilitating and
I think I
mm,
just like I've just become much more intense, I think, in every way. I mean, sometimes I have to remind myself to be more light, which also actually it's that beautiful balance of lightness and intensity, theater, which both are like essential, right? In theater, sometimes like going so intense, sometimes holding things lightly. And I'm learning to do both. But I think it's given me purpose, it's given me meaning, it's given me community, it's given me the family of choice. I mean, there's a family, like there's my blood family, and I love them very much, and they have given me a lot. But what theater has given me is a family that with a shared dream, so that is so humbling to have this set of people who we meet together every week, several times a week, and we're all working towards this shared dream. And family which is so diverse, family who come from different religions, different classes, different caste backgrounds, different completely different worlds, and yet we are a family, and we're moving towards a shared goal. And not just the people I'm working with, but also the people who we are going and showing our place to. So when I said in the beginning, like, we try in Swabhav to do theater for everyone, theater for all. It's not just that everyone can do theater. That's an important aspect too, because I never had any formal training in theater. And I would be uncomfortable, like if I was in a space where I would be made to feel that, there are these certain set of skills required in order to do theater. So just like the fact that everyone is an artist, and questioning this concept of skill, and realizing that we all have theater in us.
yes,
So yeah, so that's been really an important learning, that theater for everyone means everyone can do theater. But at the same time, theater for everyone also means that everyone should be able to watch theater also. So I should not need to buy 100, 200, 500 rupee ticket and go into an auditorium in order to find the joy of watching live performance. So also that, so Swabhav is actually, over the years, we've tried to take our theater everywhere, so right from like your traditional street theater, so street corners or things like that, but also make it even more mobile. So whether it's a school, whether it's a basti, whether it's a hospital, whether it's somebody's terrace, whether any space, like can every space become a theater space? So these learnings has given me so much connection, like I think I really craved that. Like as I was growing up, I felt like I was in a very people like us kind of a situation. I went to a school where, there were people like me. I was in, like, of course, family is people like me. The friends I had were people like me. The networks I belonged to were people like me. And I really craved, there was something inside me which craved to embrace people who were different from me, people who were not like me. And theater has given me that. I remember I have, can I share this, like one experience of, like, one of the first times that I had performed before that, but this was like this one really intense performance we were doing, and it was in a people's hospital, so like one of those hospitals which is like 2 rupiya 5 rupiya karke, you have your ticket, and then people get like good medical treatment for really subsidized, at a subsidized rate. So one of those places, it's called Chengai Shromojivi Hashpatal. So out there, we were performing one of our plays. And, so the crowd there, you can imagine, so people coming from really, really like humble backgrounds, like to buy, like standing in line for many hours to get this 2 rupee, 5 rupee tickets to show themselves there at the hospital. And so just outside there, we did one of our plays. It was called Vishwakarma, and it's about labor. It's about unorganized labor and a laborer from the unorganized sector, and like just his journey. And we did this play, and there were some at least 200, 300 people there who watched. And at the end of that, I remember, like, so many people, like we put this, like, this kind of a hat collection after the play, and people give in 1 rupee, 2 rupee, 5 rupees, whatever, whoever feels, to support the theater. And they came and they gave, and people who, Harleen, I grew up thinking, like, these are people who would like work in my homes, to help us in my home, or people who I couldn't even imagine them supporting my theater, like such people coming and giving 2 rupees, 5 rupees, 10 rupees, because they believed in what we were doing in this cause, and they felt like this theater needs to go forward. And I felt like so humbled, so like I don't have words to express what it meant, that these are the people now I'm standing with, and they are standing with me in this journey to make a better life for all, to actually create, like, to realize these dreams of social justice that we have dreamt. And so I don't know, like, I mean, this acceptance,
such an experience actually completes the circle for you, right? And I'm so humbled and so excited and so amazed that I have this, had the space for this conversation. Usually, that experiences are going on, and we all are in our spaces doing wonderful stuff, but we don't get to talk so deeply. And I'm so amazed. Thank you so much, Vartika. I wish we could, wish I could just sit here and keep listening to you for hours and hours, and we must do this again, okay? So I'm sure I need.
There's so much to share. Like, it's like this Pandora's box. How you open it, and then there's like this whole world of experiences and things that come out. But there's so much more to experience too. So next time.
Next time, after a few months, when you'll have more experiences under your belt to share about, and you already have gone deeper into what you're doing. And that is so exciting. I mean, it gives me, an old woman, so much joy and so much life that you know,
What are you saying? You're making me feel young.
the horizon is looking so, so beautiful now with people like you there. Thank you so much, Vartika, for coming
Thank
on.
you. Thank
And
you.
let's do this again, okay?